Umbango phakathi kwemindeni ngemva kokufa kwalabo abondlago uchiya abantwana emhlagweni baphezu kwekusasa elifipheleko. Ubuholi bukababa uNelson Mandela akusibo bodwa abadosa amehlo wephasi. Ngisho nendaba zokwabiwa kwamafa wakhe.
Following his death on the 5th of December 2013, the executives have decided to prepare an executive summary relating to the will and the winding up of the estate.
Ukubhalwa kwencwadi yamafa akusesiyo into efanele yenziwe kuphela bosaziwa kwabemndeni efana nekaMandela. Kodwa kweminye imndeni umbango uchisa phasi ngemva kwesifo.
Angikwamukeli ukuthi nomfazi wesibili akakwazi ukuba nomfazi wesibili eshonile. And uNtuli ngisho ephila ubengekazi abe nomfazi wesi-2 ngibe ngishadele umshado ngoshadile ngingazi.
Kodwa abantwana ngibo abasale babetheke kabuhlungu banganalitho.
Kulikhulu kakhulu ukuthi ngichubeke ngibasupport mina ngekwami, even le ndlu lesihlala kuyo lena, it's not our house.
Sisembombela esifundeni seMpumalanga. Ngokwezazi imphakathi yabanzima ayithatheli phezulu indaba yokubhalwa kwencwadi zamafa. Kodwa imphumela yalokho ibhlungu. Ngisho noma ngabe uhlalaphi. uLenda Masango nakahlangana noyise wabentwa bakhe wabona kuhle nje ukuthi lithando elinekosi phakathi.
Samita at the mall. Then after that it was a continuous relationship la ukuthi besibangani bekuchatha kuphela. Yes, then wathi uthanda indlela la ngichatha naye ngayo, it's how he relaxes, blah blah blah. Kwaqhubeka njalo ke sachatha like I think for 6 months before we started like dating kahle nje.
Kodwa ngokuhamba kwesikhathi izinto zajika nakathola ukuthi kanti indoda echadileko.
Bengine umntwana wesi-2. Then nakhona ngifonela nguye Charlotte. Wangifonela wathi nena ufuna ukungibuta, wazi wangibita ngalittle girl. Wathi ufuna ukungibuta ukuthi nena what am I doing with Webster? Do I know that he has a wife, or did I have I heard ukuthi unemfati, or I never wanted to know? Wangibuta leyo question there.
Kwathi sekunabantwana abathathu uhlangana nabo. uWebster wathoma wagula. Umthwalo ngabantwana wasala noLenda.
Ngaya lesibhedlela, ngifike lesibhedlela and then wangitshela ukuthi ngingakhali. Bantwana angeke baze bahlupheke. Yena he did paperwork although he didn't have a will.
Kodwa kwabuye kwavela ukuthi iwill ikhona eyayichiya wonke amafa ezandleni zomkakhe obesevele angezwani noLenda. Azange akumukele nokuthi uLenda unabantwana noWebster. Ngitsho noma bathi akalethe ubufakazi.
Chokwa navela ukuthi imali ikhona, just that ukuthi ayikho lokuthi batoningeta abantwana bami because bathi bengasisho ngepaternity yabo, but ngisho rate nepaternity yabo ngoba abantwana bami banawo birth certificates akamanda bayendelwa ngibo. Uma hamba nami home affairs ayo nama birth certificates bekasho ukuthi abantwana bakhe vele, even though nje people they talk bahamba bakhuluma into le bangatati.
Umka Webster azange avume ukukhuluma neCutting Edge. Kodwa iqotha lakhe uNcungwane uthi unaMasango akanabufakazi bokuthi abantu abakho ngebakwamanda.
One would look at a document that has been made after the deceased had died. I mean, it would make a lot of reservations as to how is it possible that when a person is almost a year dead and then a document called unabridged birth certificate is then made.
My unabridged certificate, I see I find a birth certificate go to my home affairs but back print nyalo. You apply and then it takes 6 months or more kuthena ibuyi. Nase imikisa nyalo bathi bonene na bengasisho ngama paternity webantwana. That's why ngisathe isikhathi ukuthi ngilethe lama unabridged certificate kani. It's not my fault, it's the home affairs fault.
iCutting Edge idlulele emnyangweni wezekhaya ePitori. ukuyokubuza ngokuthi imbala lezi certificate zamazalo ekungezomgunyathi na.
What I would like to move away from is the generalization and the knee-jerk assumption that Home Affairs documents are false and they lack any authentic value because of the generalized perception of corruption. I would like to challenge anybody who just makes that kind of statement to provide evidence of any fraudulent activity that's been done in the department so we can look at that particular case on that basis.
Noma kunjalo, uNcongwane uyaphikelela yena phezu kwephuzu lakhe.
That on its own might not be sufficient. And in terms of our instructions, we believe that those who alleges must prove. And to prove should not be just prima facie unabridged birth certificate, but it must involve the father. Perhaps we see the signatures of the father on the main paper, but not to prepare an unabridged birth certificate a year after somebody has passed on.
It's important for me to clarify that the Department of Home Affairs is not a paternity court. It's not. We have documentation, and in many aspects that documentation is accepted by the person that's applying or the person whose name is included in that documentation. So in this particular aspect, if your name appears as a father to any child, the assumption is that you accepted paternity for that. If somebody has evidence of any wrongdoing where you didn't accept paternity of the child, then we encourage those people to bring that evidence forward so we can look into that particular matter.
Ulenda naye ubeka uNcongwane nomka Webster icala lokumsayinela iwili engekho emthethweni.
Kuleyo will ubhale ukuthi babhale ukuthi nena ufuneke banikede babo wakhe John Manda eMalawi bamnikede 100,000. Then babhala ukuthi the rest of the things kufuneke batifake ku Ganyali Trust. IGanyali Trust, which yes iya exist and it had some of the things, not everything bengekho ku Ganyali Trust. Bayipushele, that's why bafakele into bathi pusha ukuthi batingene Ganyali Trust because I trust ayithashiwa umuntu longekho ku trust. That's why bapushele lapha because they know ukuthi the trust ina sikhumbuzo nalumbani bantwana bashalot, so that the other kids won't get anything. Kube bantwana ababenefita ukube ngilaba yabashalot kuphela.
Phezu kobufakazi bombuso bomnyango wezekhaya, ulenda uthi uyagandelela bona abhadele ukuhlolwa kwefuzo nengazi iDNA.
Kona angali iDNA ngayenda regardless ngiyenda nababa Webster. Lokuthi batomflyisa from Malawi etela South Africa ngiteko enda na paternity test nebantwana bami, hayi nebantwana bashalot. Naye uma yena angathembi mina ukuthi mina bengifaithful uWebster, yena beka faithful nganani kuWebster.
Uthi imizamo yakhe yokuthi athole imali yesikolo nokuthi abantwana balale badlile ayiphumeleli ngenxa yokwehliswa asenyusa ngeba kwa Macbeth attorneys nokuyinto abayiphikako.
Mrs. Masango is not an exceptional person. If she has a claim, she could then lodge, but such a claim will be ordinarily interrogated by the administrators, because in this regard we will be assisting the executrix appointed on the estate of the late Mr. Manda.
By 3, ngi 1 with no permanent job, vele kulukhuni kakhulu kuthi ngiqhubeke ngibasupport mina ngekwami, even lendlu lesihlala kuyo lena, it's not our house. Mnikadwayo usitshela ukuthi nje ngoJanuary ufuna kuyirenovate, so kufanele ngibone ukuthi ngiyakuphinda labantwana.
Ithole nephezulu ke la into engapheliko. Hlangana neziphi ezinje, abantwana bafana notshani okulwela phezu kwabo bayalimala. Uma uZandile Ntuli angeke abukhohle ubuhle belanga lomtshado wakhe. Ngenithombe ke ngikho ahlale abacocela ngawo into engapheliko abendwa bakhe.
Eshayikati.
Nihlekane.
German cat.
Yazi ukuthi bokwakho emncane.
Inhlobo nabangani bebakhona ukuzokujabula naye. Njengokwesifungo ke ukufa kwagcina kumahlukanisile nomyeni wakhe weminyaka obekalipholisa uCaptain Khulumani Ntuli. Bekazazi kunguye yedwa. Bekwafika lapho abona khona omunye umfazi ngelanga lesikhumbuzo sikamufi.
Umama wakho uqala ukufika ku-memorial service, ngiqala ukumbona ku-memorial service la eJohn Foster masicale ku-memorial service. Wangena embethe ingubo engakanani lo mama lo. Angangazi ukuthi kwenzekani, ngavusa ikhanda lo sise ngangithe naye wathi bheka phansi wena ngamangala ukuthi kahle kwenzekani.
Khona noma bekasazi ukuthi wajatha noNtuli anomntwana ngaphandle bekangakakulindeli lokhu.
Ngomgqibelo futhi emncwabeni sesihleli bisathe eroundini singakayithembeli ethendeni. Wangena futhi lo sisambethe ingobe engakanani sekugcwele abantu bathe abantu bafuna ukumuvulela indawo ukuthi eze ngakimi mina ngezwe kunomsindonyana ngambula ingubo ngathi ngicela suse nilento ngayileti la eduze kwami ngoba ngiyazi ukuthi yakabani ndikwenzekani.
Ipi yabo yadlulela nestation samapolisa eJohannesburg Central nokulapho ubaba bekasebenza khona.
Ngangcwaba ngabuye ekhaya. Mangibuye ePitoli bangifonela eJohn Foster bathi lo ntombazana ufikile afake full uniform inzilo eblack and angimazi ukuthi uyithathe inzilo ngoba inzilo ufuna igqoke kaNtuli. Even ingubo lemayelo tsholo ubezoyimbathiswa kaNtuli ubengekafika imbathele. Bathi ufike efake inzilo athi uNtuli uthe umbhalile emawilini lapha eJohn Foster bathi bamvulela ibhuku bamtshela uNtuli akakubhalanga uNtuli ubhale mina nabantwana bamobhala nama extended labantwana bakhe laba bangaphandle laba engikhuluma ngabo. Bathi ngeke sikwazi ukufaka uNtuli azangaza kubhali la. Ngeke sikulokhuza wahamba kuntombazana wakhona waya eprovince angazi bayisubmit kanjani into zakhe.
Uma uZandile usola abaphathi bamapolisa esifundeni seGauteng ngokuphambanisa izinto. Ngokuya kwakhe ukuba nomntwana ngaphandle komtchado lokho akutsho ukuthi sekunomfazi wesibili. Nokho ke akaboni njalo uNeville Malila omkhulumeli wamapolisa uthi kunobufakazi bokuthi kwakhitshwa namalobolo.
There's the wife, a lawfully wedded wife, and there is also a second person that he is lobolat for. And that is the reason why this whole process stalled. Now, our termination offers already engaged the wife on a few occasions. And at this stage, it seems that they cannot, or the two wives cannot come to an agreement.
Uma ekhulunywa ngaye la azange avume ukukhuluma nathi siyicutting edge. Kodwa uma uZandile uthi sengitsho nomkhongi owazibiza ngomfowabo kamufi, kusibongofana ongaziwako nekhaya.
Ama-witness lawa abhalele ukuthi uMadondo bekhona ayabaleka and information abayibhalile eprovince i-wrong ababhalanga ukuthi labantu bayabaleka ukuthi akasabathola uMadondo ngithi abasho ukuthi akasabathola bathina siyalo baze sihlale phansi noMadondo sikhulume nabo.
uMalila bekazwakala ngesinye isikhathi ukuthi akanalwazi nangento akhuluma ngayo.
As soon as we finish with the interview, I'll get my termination office just to bring me the file because otherwise I would have kept the file here to show you, because this is not the document that we used or that we have in the file.
Nokho ke uthi kunobufakazi lapho uCaptain Ntuli avuma khona bona unaye umfazi wesibili.
I've noted also in the file of investigation. Remember, there was also there was one of the policies of Asupol Life specifically, which was taken out by the member. And in that document, when it comes to to who the beneficiaries are, both the names of the wife and of the civil marriage and of a son is mentioned in those documentation.
uZandile uthi bekangayazi ke leyo. Nokho uthi kunenge okusolisako la njengofakazi owazibiza ngonina likamufi. Kanti unina loyo wadlula asenza umatric. Uthi igama likamalo liyafana nelomunye ugogo wekhaya naye owadlula kade.
futhi leya copy lekaramatubana ngifuna ukwazi ukuthi liphi iphoyisa elizocertify icopy nje le copy ayibona nothi yangamuvunyaka mawuyicheck ungade ka1990 or 1980 iliphi iphoyisa certify into nje.
Obviously, if the deceased family or the widow of the deceased, if she's of the opinion and there is documentary proof that these documents are not authentic, then they need to open up a case so that the case of fraud can be investigated.
Konke lokho sekubange ukuthi nabantwana baqodwe esikolweni ngoba imali kababa ayifiki.
Bayahlupheka ikimali bafunde ezikoleni lezi ekhokha imali bafunde foreign 2 abadala uNkulu uNonkululeko no Ayanda bafunda la eforeign ukhaya ufunda esikoleni edrobheni private iyo lemqoshayo since afunda azange azathola report banokumqosha hlale namanje ireport akatholi bathi ngiyathola ireport angazange abhadala imali yesikole ngagcina ngo700 rand okuregister kuphela ngiyichethi imali izophuma until today imali ayikho.
We have an education trust fund where the family can also apply to, you know, and the education trust fund is specifically been established to cater for members who have passed, for kids and family members of members who have passed on, even those in the line of duty and those also who have passed on not being not on duty.
Ukhuluma into engekho ke la uMalila ngemva kwesikhathi abaphathi bamapolisa bathe bakwaNtuli abantwana abakazuyithola ibhezari leyo ngoba uyise bekagula azangafela emsebenzini. Zandile uthi kuhlale kuhlekiswa ngabo vele lapha nokuyinto ayiphikako uMalila.
In terms of the rules and regulation of the pension fund, this whole issue must be resolved, and I can safely say that until the issue has not been resolved, the pension fund, the pension won't be paid out.
Abaphathi bamapolisa bamfuna aphumile nendaweni yokuhlala amapolisa alala kiyo Zandile njengoba ubaba angasekho. Aloke uzokuyaphi nabantwana. Imitshato yesintu ehlanganisa nokuthatha isithembu inendumela ngitsho nakubosopolitiki bezinga eliphezulu eMzansi. Nokho-ke uCaroline Ford osisazi mthetho kwa-Legal Aid South Africa uthi iningi labafazi beMzansi banamhlanje alisayifuni imitshato ehlanganisa isithembu.
The education level of people changed, especially when women started getting rights, the right to vote, becoming managers and CEOs, getting into high-profile positions. Yes, they go into monogamous relationships.
Akusiwo wonke-ke amadoda anesibindi sokuphumela tshachalazi nakafuna umtshato wesithembu.
You need to consult her and tell her that you want to go into a customary marriage with another wife. It's not just a matter of taking another wife without consulting the first one.
Zandile Ntuli uthi lokho ke kufana nokwephula isivumelano esenziwa phambi komfundisi.
Angikwamukeli ukuthi nomfazi wesibili akakwazi ukuba nomfazi wesibili eshonile. And uNtuli ngisho ephila bengeke azabe nomfazi wesi2 ngibe ngishadele umshado ngoshadile ngingazi.
uCaroline uthi umtshato wesikhuwa i-civil union nowatshadwa nguZandile awusivumi vele isithembu.
It's a monogamous relationship. The common law wife, if she goes to court and say this person needs to be declared that she was never married to this person, to my husband, because in law, with a civil marriage, you can't have another marriage. She will be successful. That the court will decide that the customary union is invalid.
Kodwa uthi abantwana hlangothi zembili kumele bondliwe ngendlela efaneleko.
If there is a child from the customary wife, will definitely benefit. In the past, there were difference between legitimate children, children born of marriage, adopted children. There's no difference between any of them. They are all going to have the same legal right to inherit from the estate of the biological father who is now deceased. The child will benefit.
Khona kuyifanelo na ukuthi bajeziswe abantwana abazelwe ngaphandle kuthiwa umzali ubekwa icala lokwephula umtshado?
Because bancane they don't understand ukuthi nina papa ushonile and kwanyalo kufuneka sistophe singadli until 3 years or 4 years nabaceza kuwenda lento le yase high court. But nyalo ngibona ngathi mina usebenza one sided because bashalothi bantwana bayaya esikoleni bayabhadalelwa school fees, and then why labami bangakhoni ukuthi badle because bakamanda nabo they share the same blood as these kids. Why bangakhona ngosibona bathole imali ukuthi badle baqhubeke baye esikoleni?
If the wife, the common law wife, comes and says, yeah, but it's not his children, she wants a paternity test, quite obviously that investigation must be done. It's not just by saying they're not going to inherit, regardless whether they are out of wedlock or born within the marriage. Proof that they are registered on his surname at Home Affairs. In my view, that's proof enough to say he's the father of the children.
Izibalo zitshengisa ukuthi abomma ngibo kaningi abazithola baseleni namahluwo bangasazi ukuthi baphuma njani. Khona kwamukeleke kangangani ukuthi ngabo baba kube nabantwana abangaphandle kwemtshado?
Asikwamukeli mari mesathe uzela uzothini? Awamukeli kuhlala kukunempi phakathi lokuthi why uzala ngaphandle because nami ngizela. Futhi uNtuli behlala ethi sengithe ngithi kwaba nengane nini sengithe ngithi ngathi mina shema ngikhathele wenjalo uthe uthi kwaba nengane ngithe ngithi kwaba nengane wangitshela uMadondo emithe na 4 months wangitshela uMadondo angeke azamlobole ngeke azamthatha amenze umfazi wakhe.
The person who died is in a better position. It's the people he leaves behind that has to clear up the mess.
Kuphela nayo imali engekho leyo ngenxa indleko zomthetho ngitsho nokuyokufika emagqwetheni.
Nase master of the high court vele lekhathi ngisengaqali kuba nelawyer ngike ngaya bangitshela ukuthi kufanele lawyer litongiclaimela bantwana through the estate ukuthi bave badla while estate sato liquidator and stuff. So ngakwenda konke lokho but till today angikaze ngathola lutho ngisengayi nase court.
Sekuminyaka imndeni ilwa iziphi ezinje akupheli khani ngitsho noma ngabe lisiko elinjani kodwa abantwana abakhula hlangana nazo kuyabahlukumeza ngokwengqondo nangwendlela abakhula ngayo.
For more information on Cutting Edge, listen to the following radio stations between 6 and 7 p.m. Monday through to Friday. Abasiki Bebunda, Ukhozi FM. Diphuma Embiteni, Ligwalagwala FM. Apha Naphaya, Umhlobo Wenene FM. Zibuya Nabazumi, Ikwekwezi FM.
Brought to you by SABC News, Africa's news leader.